You're 24 with the most forgettable face on the planet. Not ugly, not handsome, just there. You grew up on the border, learned Spanish before English, switched between both like flipping a light switch. Broke, directionless, a bachelor's degree in accounting collecting dust next to an empty fridge. But that forgettable face and that bilingual tongue. That's your resume. The CIA isn't recruiting action heroes. They're recruiting ghosts. And you're practically invisible. They fly you to a facility that doesn't show up on any map. 18 months. They teach you to lie so fluently, your own reflection doubts you. They teach you to build an identity from thin air. Fake credit history, fake landlords, fake exes who'll confirm your fake breakup if anyone calls. They run you through 72-hour interrogations, where the only way out is to out-stubborn a guy whose career is breaking people. They teach you 14 ways to kill someone and 200 ways to avoid having to. But the first lesson, the one they tattoo on your brain, is the golden rule. Never get attached. Your instructor says it like a prayer. The people you're going to meet are not your friends. They're assets. They're line items on an operational budget. The second you forget that, you're a dead man with a classified obituary nobody will ever read. Your legend, spy talk for the lie you're going to live inside, is Alejandro Medina, accountant, gambling problem, owes 200 grand to people who collect debts with pliers, morally flexible, financially desperate. The agency spent 8 months building this man's existence. He has a college transcript, a landlord who will vouch for him, even a Tinder profile with 3 matches who are all undercover agents. Alejandro Medina is more real than most real people. Starting today, he's you. You show up to a job fair in Guadalajara wearing a cheap suit. A logistics company called Grupo Pacifico has a booth. Clean branding, LinkedIn presence, the whole corporate theater. 2 interviews later, you're employee number 247 at a company that imports industrial cleaning supplies. On paper, the most boring job in Mexico. In reality, Grupo Pacifico is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Reyes cartel. And those cleaning supplies haven't cleaned anything except money in 6 years. Your first month is actual bookkeeping. Payroll, invoices, tax filings. Then you notice the numbers. A single warehouse in Sinaloa generating revenue that would make an Amazon fulfillment center jealous. Invoices don't match shipping logs. Shipping logs don't match customs declarations. A recurring transfer of exactly $47,000 every Thursday to a shell company in Panama, with no website, no office, no employees. You don't say a word. You just fix the books. Find errors the previous accountant was too lazy or too scared to catch. Your supervisor, a stocky guy everyone calls Ringo, watches you work. After 2 weeks, he nods. 1 nod. In this organization, 1 nod from the right person is worth more than a standing ovation. 3 months in, they test you. Ringo walks you into a back room where a man is zip-tied to a metal chair, face already purple. Skimmed $15,000 from a shipment. What happens next isn't an interrogation. It's a receipt, a message for everyone else. Ringo doesn't watch the man. He watches you. Your training kicks in 3 full seconds before your humanity does. You stand there with the same blank expression you'd wear watching someone fix a printer. Ringo nods again. 2 nods now. You're being promoted without anyone saying the word. You feed intelligence back using methods that would make a Cold War spy nostalgic. Yelp reviews for restaurants you've never eaten at. 5 stars means priority intel. 1 star means abort. 3 stars means check the dead drop. The dead drop is a hollowed-out brick behind a laundromat. Your handler meets you at a dog park every other Thursday. You both pretend to walk dogs. The agency provides the dog, a golden retriever named Peanut with better fake documents than most people. The exchanges last 90 seconds. If anyone's watching, you're 2 boring people with a boring dog having a boring conversation. Perfect. 8 months in, You know names that don't appear in any newspaper. Routes through 3 countries. Dollar amounts that would make a Wall Street banker cry. Your intel has led to 2 major seizures and the quiet arrest of a mid-level operator. You're a human microphone buried inside the machine. But here's what nobody warned you about. These people start becoming real. Ringo carries a leather notebook everywhere. Not for cartel business, for a novel he's writing. A love story set in a fishing village. He reads you a passage at 2 a.m. while you're counting cash in a warehouse, and it's heartbreaking. He joined the organization to pay for his mother's Alzheimer's care. 40,000 pesos a month. Visits her every Sunday. She doesn't recognize him anymore, but he still brings gardenias because she used to grow them when he was a kid. La Señora runs the cartel's real estate front, former elementary school teacher. Her son disappeared 12 years ago. She joined because they had contacts the police didn't. Never found him, but found something that numbs the absence. She mothers everyone in the office, remembers your fake birthday, brings you soup when you're sick. Don Abel, the old driver, 30 years with the organization, doesn't carry a gun, just drives. Tells you about his dead wife Estella on long rides through the mountains. Talks about her like she's waiting at home. You know these people now, not as targets, as humans. That is the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to you. One weekend, Ringo self-publishes his novel, prints 50 copies at a shop downtown. The whole crew shows up to a restaurant to celebrate. Toasts, bad speeches, genuine laughter. A man who dissolved a rival's car in acid last month is tearing up because he's proud of his friend's book. La Señora reads the dedication page out loud. Don Abel falls asleep in the corner, holding a signed copy against his chest like a teddy bear. You wrote the back cover blurb. You meant every word. For 3 hours, it looks like any group of friends at any restaurant in any city. You eat, you drink, you laugh. And somewhere between the second bottle of mezcal and Ringo's terrible karaoke, you forget. For 1 full minute, you forget you're here to destroy every person in this room. That minute is the most dangerous 60 seconds of your entire mission. The cartel's chief financial architect calls himself El Arquitecto. Actually trained as one, 4 years at the best university in Mexico City before he realized you could make more money designing shell companies than buildings. He launders through 14 countries using a network so complex it would take the FBI a decade to untangle. He wants you on his team. The promotion means access to everything. Swiss accounts, Cayman trusts, names of politicians who cash cartel checks. Intelligence the agency would sell its soul for. It also means you're locked inside the innermost room of a building with no fire exits. At this level, people don't resign. They decompose. Your handler gets replaced. New guy. Soft hands, pressed shirt, never been in the field. Talks to you like a spreadsheet. The mission timeline is being accelerated. 6 months instead of 2 years. Why? A rival agency is about to poach your case. If the DEA files first, Langley loses credit. 3 years of your life, fast-tracked because 2 bureaucracies are fighting over who holds the trophy. You push back. Say these people have families. He cuts you off. Your job is to open the door. What walks through it isn't your concern. You sit in your car for 40 minutes after he leaves and realize the agency and the cartel have more in common than either would admit. Both run on hierarchy. Both treat people like inventory. Both will burn you the second you stop being useful. The only difference is the logo on the letterhead. Then you make the mistake that almost kills you. After a particularly ugly night, you call your handler on a line you thought was clean. It wasn't. The cartel had that number flagged for months. They don't know it's you. Not yet. But now they know there's a mole. El Arquitecto starts running polygraphs on every member of the inner circle. One by one, people get called into a windowless room. Your training covered this. Countermeasures, breathing techniques, controlled stress responses. You pass. Barely. Others aren't so lucky. Some fail and disappear. Some pass and still disappear. Just in case. The circle shrinks. 12 people. Then 9. Then 7. Your number is getting closer. You stop sleeping. Every conversation becomes a potential autopsy of your cover. A colleague asks about a wire transfer from last quarter, and your pulse hits 160. You answer perfectly. You always answer perfectly. But the gap between your mask and your face is thinning by the hour. You start reading micro-expressions at dinner the way a radiologist reads X-rays. Is that a suspicious glance, or is he just tired? Did she pause because she's lying, or because she's chewing? You're running constant internal surveillance on yourself, monitoring your own body for signs of fear the way a pilot monitors instruments during turbulence. You're a spy terrified of being caught spying on himself. Then comes the order that kills the last sliver of your soul. Pájaro, the young IT kid who maintains encrypted communications. Quiet, always wearing headphones, probably the only person in the building who never hurt anyone. He's on El Arquitecto's shortlist of suspected moles. He's not the mole. You are. The agency sends a message through the dead drop. Let it happen. If Pájaro takes the fall, the mole hunt ends and the operation survives. Do not intervene. Not self-defense. Not a split-second survival decision. A cold, premeditated sacrifice of a 23-year-old kid. You could warn him. But if you do, the hunt continues, and the next name is yours. Pájaro disappears on a Wednesday. Nobody mentions him on Thursday. By Friday, his desk is cleared, and a new guy is sitting in his chair. You did nothing. That nothing weighs more than everything you've ever done. The final act begins with a PowerPoint. You organize an investor strategy session. The cartel is expanding into legal cannabis, and El Arquitecto wants all decision makers in one room. You build the slide deck yourself. 42 slides designed to put every major target in a single building on a single day. The conference room seats 30. By 10 a.m., every seat is filled. Ringo is in the back row scribbling in his notebook. La Señora brought pastries. Don Abel is parked outside, napping with the radio on. At 3:47 p.m., you hear the helicopters. At 3:48, the doors blow open. 12 minutes of chaos. Flash grenades, screaming, bodies hitting the floor. Not the clean surgical strike the agency promised. Glass everywhere. Smoke. Somebody accidentally discharges into the ceiling. Ringo is tackled 6 feet from you. His notebook skids across the floor. The love story he's been writing for 3 years, face down in the dust. La Señora screams that she's not armed. She isn't. Don Abel wakes up in the parking lot and raises his hands so slowly it breaks your heart. A stray round catches him in the shoulder. He's not on any target list. He's a 67-year-old driver who tells stories about his dead wife. A rounding error in someone's mission success metrics. They fly you to Houston, then Washington. 3 weeks in a windowless room while men in suits extract every name and number you've been carrying. The operation makes headlines. Biggest cartel takedown in a decade. Senators give speeches. You receive a classified medal that will never hang on any wall. A bonus in an account without your real name, and a new identity. A hero who fed a 23-year-old kid to the wolves. A hero who wrote the back cover blurb for a novel whose author hanged himself in his cell. A hero who can't close his eyes without seeing an old man's hands go up in slow motion. Ringo left a note. You'll never read it. You imagine it was addressed to his mother, the one who doesn't know he's gone. La Señora cooperated and lives in Arizona under a name that isn't hers. Don Abel survived. Minimum security, probably telling Estella stories to anyone who'll listen. The Reyes organization is officially dismantled, except 6 new organizations have already carved up its territory. The drugs still flow. The money still launders. The only thing that changed is you can't sleep without pills, and you flinch when someone knocks on a door. 8 months later, your handler calls. New voice, same tone. Synthetic opioid network in Southeast Asia. They need someone forgettable. Someone who speaks the language of money. The agency isn't asking. They're informing. You were never the protagonist. You're ammunition. A bullet the agency loads, fires, and reloads until the casing cracks. You pack your bag because that's what bullets do. They don't choose the target. They just fly.